So it's not like the y equals a.
Yeah. Right. No, it's not.
Oh my god.
So, had you guys had that conversation together instead of the conversation about where you live, that would have like gotten everybody here jump started. Yes. So I do. I get rulers. So Eva, you're saying you didn't learn this. So let's talk about what you know about graphing. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, pretty good. Let's do that. Well, let's get that far. Let's get that going.
Wait, so isn't the slope over 1? Up 3/1? What?
Can I have one? Because if not, I'm gonna do something else. Like at all the same work, you like.
So number one, and you got to see this, and I didn't do a linear inequality on Friday. So the difference between 1 and 2 in math is what you're saying.
Flash it on.
This is the A thing. So I think the A thing we're referring to is this absolute value model. So this will be a line, and this will be a V.
Never mind, I did.
Because there's no brackets here and there is brackets here. So recognizing that is really good. So like Eva said, when we graph that line, if this was just an equal sign, like Kaylee said, we'll just pretend it's an equal sign. We'll start at -2 and then go down 3/1.
What?
Okay, and based on your notes Friday, if there isn't a line underneath this symbol, I'm going to dash it. Yeah. Technically, I went down 3 right on and up 3 left on.
Wait, you have to dash it?
Yes, it has to be dashed based
Why?
on the notes from Friday. If the symbol is this one or the other way without a line under it, that's a dash. What was that then Friday besides? Okay. Oh, okay. Are we shading the top? Great question. So when I read this, it says y is greater than. So I want to shade greater than. So I'm going to put my pencil like right here where the line goes to the y-axis. And I'm going to shade up from there. So we could describe that as the top. When I shade all of this side, it kind of ends up looking, like the right side or the upper right side. Right. Well, that's how you know where to shade. You start there and go up, and then you fill in everything else on that side. No, keep going.
What?
Keep going. Color that whole part in.
Oh my lord.
No. Mm-mm. Yeah. Oh, no. You mean talking about number 2? Yeah, number 2 has to be changed before you graph. Does anybody know what the shading represents? Why are we coloring this? So the shading represents all ordered pairs that would make that inequality true. So the non-shaded part would be ordered pairs that would make the inequality false. Should we test one? Tell me any ordered pair in the shaded part. So a test point. So a lot of times I could have taught you, instead of shading up, I could have said, try a test point, but it's a little more difficult. So my test point's going to be 4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to. It's in the shaded part. If I have shaded correctly, when I plug this x and y in, for inequality, it should come out true. So I put a 2 in for y and a 4 in for x, and I can just test it out. And I think it's 2 greater than negative 14. Sure is. True enough. You have to understand it. So, maybe on your test, I'll throw in a question that says something like, identify one point that makes the inequality true. And if you're shaded correctly, you could pick any of these points in the shaded part. And the shaded part would be true. Any point in the non-shaded part would be false. Yeah.
So regarding shading, I have a feeling of it. It's going to be like is there going to be like a future lesson where we're going to have two inequalities instead of one, and then we would either have to like combine or diverse shaded areas?
Yeah, so sometimes you graph two, it's called a system of inequalities. You graph two lines, you shade them both, and you see where the shading overlaps, and where they're both shaded, those points are true for both inequalities. So yes, yeah, you probably have done it, shaded two different functions on the same graph. And you can shade like we could do a quadratic, like a U shaped, and then a line, and then shade them both, and you see where they intersect. It's pretty cool. Any other questions on number 1? All right, let's move on to number 2. So number 2, a bit more. I put an extra challenge in here with this 3. And I heard some of you asking, what do I do with this 3? Well, you can't start graphing until y is isolated. So divide everything by 3. I'm not stupid. I just have a bad brain. No longer.
That's that figure ball your ass out. Let's put up the video.
So when I divide by 3, it's a little tricky because of the brackets.
Oh, boy.
So I could, separate it. I'm going to do the brackets over 3 and the 6 over 3. And I can't break into these brackets. I can do 6 over 3s too. What's your idea? So how can we write this differently? Because I didn't tell you what to do if this whole thing was over 3.
Then negative 4.
No, you can't write that up, Torian.
We use an a integer with 1/3, so 1/3 bracket x minus 4.
Yeah, so instead of having this divided by 3, it's the same as multiplying by 1/3. So an easier way to write this so that we can get really set up to graph is, instead of absolute value of x minus 4 over 3, I can just write 1/3 in the front, and that's the same thing math-wise. These two are equivalent. The whole thing over 3, or this whole thing times 1/3, same thing. And now this looks like something I can graph.
You think you can graph it?
Well, the question isn't at this point, yeah, but can you figure out what the vertex is of the V shape? Close. Positive 4, 2. So the centermost point will be positive 4, 2, because we're going back to the model for absolute value. So here it is, fourth time I've written this on the board. H comma K is the vertex. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's opposite what's in there. Okay, so you can start making your graph just like that. Hope I make this big enough. So my slope's not going to be F1 over 1. What will the slope of the branches be? So this is the slope of the branches. So for ours, it's 1/3. I don't really want to call it M. So I'm just gonna say slope on the right side up 1 over 3. So this is like really like a wide V shape. It's definitely compressed from the parent function. Yeah, super obtuse. What's this one? What's the parent function? Right. Yeah, right. Let's not forget to shade. This reads y is less than. So, yeah. So I'm gonna put my pencil here. Shade under that intercept, and then I extend that shading. Well, your function's just extending forever, right? I don't know the exact place this goes through. Do you know how I got this point here? So, do you know I got this point here? Up 1 over 3. So you want to follow that, just the like reflect it, because this is a symmetrical V. So I went up 1 and then left 3. Up 1 and then left 3. Oh, because these are absolute value brackets. How many days were you out? Just the Friday. Okay. So I was just curious. No, yeah, I'm just curious. So if you were here you have a handout from last Thursday that has a lot of different V shapes. Like definitely read that again. That went over it all over again. You could do a test point and it'll come out true. You could do a test point. Let's do it. I'll go with Alexis. Pick a test point. A point that's going to make the absolute value inequality true. Yeah. Pick a point that would make that inequality true. Okay, which one? This one right here. Let's not pick one right on the line. Sure. Alright, let's try plugging in -2, -4, see what we can do with it. This is shaded. It should be true. -2, -4. We're going to plug it in here. See if it's true. One third. Oh, I got a -3. Hey, great pick. Did you know that was going to do that? 6 multiplies by 1/3. I could not have picked a better value. So I end up with a -6 in there. Now I'll do the absolute value of -6. I have -4 less than or equal to 1/3 times 6 plus 2. -4 less than or equal to 2 plus 2. -4 is less than or equal to 0. True. Thank you. Still true. So anybody could have said any point in the green region and it'll come out true. Any point in the white region will come out false.
I don't feel like doing all that math.
Yeah. I mean, you can look at it and understand it, and what it takes for you to remember things. All right. So just grab your workbook from Friday. No, just textbook from Friday. They have it on here.
LOL. About.
This was your assignment. I'll come around and give you credit for doing it.
I didn't do that.
I keep thinking take a picture. That was nerve-wracking.
Is this what you were talking about?
Yeah. It's got a lot of V shapes on it. Jog your memory. No, it's totally fine. I just wanted to remind you. That's our first time looking at it. I didn't put the parent function on this answer initially because I didn't want it to be confusing with the shading, but there it is.
No, I don't.
No way.
Actually, man, I want to know what's going on.
It sounds like a girl.
I
Like
don't
it's
like
auto-tuned off.
Oh, yeah, I can do it. What?
Was it only those two questions?
Mhm. What? Did you do it right?
I didn't do that one, was it?
Oh, I guess I
I didn't think you had to change the six over.
Wait, did we have to do a parent function? So, okay, well, you did it like really low. Wait, it's hard. It's so good. Just watch it.
So the directions that are typing in. What?
Or did I do them? I meant to give you two, but you took it.
No, I didn't.
Oh my god.
I think that.
That's my.
I write large.
Yeah, oh, I swear. Yeah, it's.
Oh, I thought. Never mind.
What? I'm so confused. Do you get this email?
Is it not already in the form?
Number 24 is, but number 25 is not.
So you just like keep it?
Yeah, and you just said identify A, B, and C, and some of you on your quiz put it in standard form, but then you didn't identify that you didn't make the A, B, and C list. You lost a point. So 24 given. Just say what A, B, and C are. 25, X and Y are now on the same side, so you either subtract 12X from both sides or you subtract Y from both sides. I subtracted Y from both sides, leaving a 0, which is pretty uncomfortable. I don't like zeros, but there it is. And then A would be the coefficient of X, B is the coefficient of Y, and C is that 0. So just all you're doing is identifying coefficients when X and Y are on the same side.
Bruh.
Because A should not be negative.
Oh, bruh.
So I'm going to take this 3X to the other side of the equal. I don't know. What are you referring to? Like a fraction in various to the simplest form. Which number are you referring to? Let me know. 27. Like the X factor is 25. Yes. Yes. Reduce everything. Okay. So when I put X and Y on the same side in 26,
What, Taylor? Is that cold water?
A can't be negative, so I will
Divide everything by negative.
yeah, I'll do some algebra. Divide both sides by -1. Well, either one. Whatever you do.
Wait, they can't be negative?
A can't be negative. The leading coefficient.
So you have to divide?
It just makes everything positive.
Oh, and then I'm back.
Nice.
What? Okay,
Water.
water?
I was finishing my test sign.
Whatever. I'm doing what? So there was a rule, and it wasn't on your quiz. I don't think we practiced it since like the first day we talked about this. But the rule was there shouldn't be a GCF here for a technical standard form. So since everything can be divided by 4, we'll divide both sides by 4 before we identify A, B, and C.
So just do what we did on oh, right. Wait,
Well, standard form problems and then an import. Because this leading coefficient can be negative for a final
so then
answer.
27.
Because there another rule, just completely different, is that there shouldn't be a GCF in all 3 terms. That's all just like a definition of standard form linear function. You know how to do that. It says x is what? Did you read 28 again?
I read it, but
What does it say x is? What does it say x is?
the number of hours spent driving.
And what's the question? Alright, so what do we do with 8? So x is the number of hours driving, and what's the question? Eight. X is the number.
X represents the number of
So what would we do with 8? What is 8? They drove. So x must be 8. If x is the hours driving, and they drove 8 hours, so x equals 8. So now we're going to put 8 in. Stop thinking about Gabby. They're lost. What happened? That's such a mystery. Now we got this word problem. Never thinking about it again.
I think it was a
What's the answer? So 48 plus 40? 520? Let's answer in a complete sentence.
No, I think he killed her because he got like tired of it, and then he wanted to cover it up. Yeah. So what's here? No. In like Colorado or something. Arizona. She brought it up.
You slope formula?
Where's 29?
If you flip the page, you will see your life. What's the
What?
It says final rate change between week 2 and week 5. So
Week 2 is 58 and week 5 is 100.
week 2 is 58, so that's like an ordered pair 2, 58.
I don't know how.
No, we wouldn't want to graph it. We wouldn't want to graph it. What'd you do? You just spell formula. Oh, it is. You did the thing. So you read the word column, it says rate of change, you gotta know. Okay, that means I'm using spell formula.
Wait, it's 54, right?
Approximately 18 between 2 and 5. And that's what they went out of business. That's really not funny. Okay, let me stop.
Wait, so it's just 30 to
The next hardest problem is number 44.
Wait, what?
Okay, keep going. What's your slow?
This is just slope form.
That's slow formula, yeah. No, I mean, it gets harder column.
Is it slope intercept too?
Mm-hmm.
Which is y equals y 1.
So maybe you're gonna have to do point slope form for some of these if you have to write an equation.
Y minus y 1 equals 1. Just pass this thing back on.
Okay, whenever you're on, you have your phone? Huh? Whenever you're on. 30 now. Alright, let's go. Okay. I told you watch, I'm gonna come in Wednesday. Yeah. Homework done. Yeah. I'm gonna be here all 5 days this week. Just like, no. I'm still, yeah, so like rate of change is like rise over the. True. True. Yep. Why is that very important? Huh? Like what? About dear man. I'm gonna pull up with my horse. Oh, dear man.
Dude, I called Keenan. What, man?
Steph, what'd you get for 30?
Steph got -2. That's right? Yeah. Was 31 1?
No, very close though.
-1?
Yeah.
You should keep that all sliding. How do you what?
Nothing else.
My hand is sweaty.
When?
Then I have.
You
Do you have chapstick? We have chapstick. Do you have chapstick? I'm gonna make a picture. Please.
Fourth period. Chapstick.
Oh my god. Do it for Moo.
She can't even get
Zach,
up.
would you get
She can't even get up on my own bed.
Y equals negative 2x minus 11.
They're all easy. Really good. I'm really trying. How'd you get up
That
four?
was so
over
good.
two?
You don't understand even. Thank you.
Turtle head poking out.
Oh my gosh. I think you should get food. Should I get food? It's on Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, then I don't.
But what did you get?
I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. That's why you told me to take you on. I was very good for it. So I don't buy yours. I don't bring mine to school. I just leave it in the car. But you obviously don't have that option. Are you serious? I'm gonna crash your car when you're baptized.
I couldn't drive my whole sophomore year. I just got my
Why?
because my birthday is in July.
Oh my god, this makes my legs cold.
That's what?
Really?
Whenever they say Eva, I think that you're saying Eva.
No.
Like every single time.
When I say, I can't say Emily. Is it Emily Harris?
Why would you say Emily?
I don't know. He thinks I say Eva whenever I say Eva. Eva.
Yeah, I know. That's
What?
oh, look at them lights
Yeah,
right
we
there.
can
Look
do
at
that.
that. Look at the lights right there.
They
like it.
You got lights?
I
Is that comfortable? Do that again.
You're gonna get, but you should try 44, 45 before I do it with you. Once you do it, sometimes like the most trouble with it. So even if you have to skip around, try 44. Come in with questions. Don't wait for me to do it for you. Try it yourself and figure out what your question is about it. Number 44. Even though it's not due till.
Are we doing this again all classes, or is it like how we did it?
Oh, see, I mean, if lots of people are finishing up, I'll figure out something else that you have to do. I don't know.
Because you do 2
I don't think I'll need it because I'll be productive. I do all my work.
If